The Future Forged in Our Palms by nolov, louscr. Chapter 4. This might as well happen. Life is already so goddamn weird. Tomra's voice, still the same rough and cracked thing it had been since they first spoke, comes through his headphones almost immediately after Izuku starts the call. "Are you okay?" his friend asks, flat tone edged with something like worry. And that's the question. Is Izuku okay? He isn't sure. His shoulder hurts where cotton had held him in place, minuscule explosions popping against his uniform until they burnt the fabric and pressed against his skin. It doesn't hurt as much as his chest, though. Air doesn't want to fill his lungs properly, and his heart feels swollen behind his ribs, as though it's taking up too much space, freshly burst from all the hurt. Sort of, Izuku decides to reply, hoping Tomra won't dig too hard at the non-committal answer. His friend is unpredictable and abrasive, even worse than Izuku at being a good friend, too ignorant of how far is too far until he's reminded. Delving into the day's events, what Kachan had said just feels like it'll end with more stress and pain. Tomra doesn't speak for a few moments. "If you say so," he concedes. "How was school?" "That's a bit underhanded," Izuku can't help commenting. The dig for information about why Izuku isn't okay is so obvious, because school is never good. "But it was alright. Not great, but nothing unusual." A lie, because today was new. The proof of it, the soggy and burnt notebook in his backpack, and the hand-shaped burn on his shoulder that he'll have to do something with. Proof in how his hands are still shaking. His friend will get upset if he tells the truth, though, all righteous anger and cursing the dependency society has formed on heroes that leads him to only valuing those with strong quirks. It's his brand of protectiveness, which Izuku has learned to accept without arguing that even heroes he'd probably been treated by pretty much the same. Today, though, Izuku doesn't feel like he can listen. Too wound up and scared and devastated. He just needs his best friend to talk about arbitrary things in video games with him right now. "Have you seen the new skins for Sun Force?" he asks before Tomra can reply, forcing the subject away from himself. It helps that the new designs were cool, additional colours and patterns and options for their spaceship. They probably could have done more for patterns, but seeing the new customizable control consoles were the real highlight. Izuku is glad Tomra takes the distraction, even if they both know it for what it is. He takes a turn on his walk home, following the route on autopilot. "I can't wait to test it out on multiplayer. You can take the controls for offensive measures and stuff, and I can grab the shields and collections. Like that one time." The shadow of the underpass he crosses under nearly every day falls over Izuku and relief fills him. He's only 5 more minutes away from home, where he can curl up in his room and do homework and play video games with Tomra and not think about his day. "As always, as long as we get to kick Spaceface's ass, I'm down. Or we can play some of the True Hunt and narrate which enemies show up and their entire backstories." Izuku can't help laughing, trying to muffle it so it doesn't echo too harshly on the concrete walls. Once his laughter stops, there's quiet, only broken by the buzz of cars Izuku can barely hear over his headphones. Player 2? Tomra starts, voice a little quieter. "What's that noise?" "What noise?" His friend sounds worried, so Izuku starts pulling off one of his headphones from his ear. As he does, it hits him. The slow squelch and ooze of something moving behind him. It feels like there's suddenly ice in his spine. "Izuku?" Tomra starts, just as the ice in Izuku's spine and the fear of his gut peaks, and he tries to run. Something wraps around his ankle, and he hits the ground with a grunt of pain. It creeps up his leg with speed, consuming him. Izuku can hear Tomra yell his name, voice panicked and grating, and suddenly tears are in his eyes. The slime grabs him fully, and he can't cry with it covering him, trying to squirm into his body. He can't breathe. He doesn't want Tomra to hear him die. Through the sludge, he sees his phone black out, the connection to Tomra crackling and dying in his ears. Things happen. All Might tells him to be realistic and leaves him standing alone on that rooftop. Izuku would be lying if he said he didn't think about it, didn't stare down at the concrete below and almost heed Kachan's words. He wanted to call Tomra, to talk to him and remind himself that there are at least 2 people out there that care for him, and he knows Tomra cares for him, even if he hadn't quite believed it before he had heard his best friend yelling for him to be okay. But he couldn't call, because his phone died in that villain sludge. The concrete stared back at him. An explosion broke him out of his thoughts, tucking him down the stairs and through the streets until he was watching, running, sobbing, as he tries to save Kachan. Hands slipping through the sludge ineffectually. Then there is the walk home, Kachan stopping him and then All Might just after, offering something life-changing. In that moment, Izuku thinks of Tomra's hatred for the man, thinks about saying no. Then he thinks about himself, about how this is his hero. This is his chance to help people. He says yes. Many things happened that day. When he gets home, he pulls out an old pair of headphones and turns on his computer to message Tomra. mightdoriya, 6:23. I'm okay. I just got home, went to my computer. The villain destroyed my phone, but I'm okay. Tomra 4FNG, 6:25. Incoming call. mightdoriya, 6:25. Call accepted. I'm okay, are the first words Izuku can get out, and the rest are bubbling out after them like he's broken a dam. It was terrifying and the worst ending to a bad day, but I'm alive and didn't get any serious injuries. Tomra doesn't speak. I'm alive, Izuku whispers, and it almost feels like a lie, like he's dreaming this and he died in that tunnel. Tomra still listening to him struggle. Tomra? It really only hits him then that he almost died, drowning and alone, ripped away from the comfort of his best friend's voice in those last moments. The feeling of sludge in his lungs rises. Izuku feels, even as he breathes, as though he's drowning. Tomra's voice nearly makes the dam holding his tears back finally break. It's quiet and careful and raspy from use, from yelling. I'm glad you're all right, Izuku. He sounds like there's more he wants to say, but he doesn't continue. It makes Izuku think of Kurogiri, how the man is the only person Tomra has outside of a random 14-year-old who he had almost listened to die today. I'm sorry, he says, because he isn't sure what else to say. He isn't sure if he's apologizing for Tomra having to hear him drown, nearly abandoning the older teen to never know Izuku's fate, or taking on what's offered, but he's apologizing anyways. It feels right, though. Player 2. And Tomra's voice is different, still quiet but broken, not raspy from use, but from spending too long screaming after Izuku's phone had died, and is now only letting the mask drop. I was so scared, he whispers, like he's scared of being heard, like he thinks someone's watching him. I couldn't do anything to help you, and you were right there, he confesses. Something in Izuku cracks. Tomra's words are familiar. It's how he had felt when the older teen broke down over their call so long ago, panicked and frenzied. The feeling of inaction, of being too far away as you listen to someone you love suffer. Izuku drops his head to his desk, trying to stay calm. You made sure I wasn't alone, he assures. It would have been worse if I was alone. He can hear Tomra's breathing, and he knows Tomra can hear his. It's comforting, a reminder that they're alive. They sit in silence like that for a long time. It is Sunday, and that means Izuku has a day off from training so he can rest. It feels like falling behind, faltering, but it also means he gets to talk with Tomra, so he can stomach it for a day. The both of them have been busy the last 4 months, since Izuku was attacked and his life changed so drastically. He missed Tomra. Tomra 4FNG, 11:47. Have you looked into Setrun? It's releasing in a few months. January, I think? mightdoriya, 11:48. Not really, frowny face. I haven't really had much time to look into or play anything recently, with getting ready for entrance exams and all. Tomra 4FNG, 11:48. Want to call so I can tell you about it? mightdoriya, 11:48. Sure. Tomra 4FNG, 11:49. Incoming call. mightdoriya, 11:49. Call accepted. Hey Tomra, Izuku greeted immediately. Sorry I haven't been able to get online since last Sunday. It's been a while, and the guilt eats at Izuku. Balancing training and getting to talk to Tomra is difficult, makes Izuku feel panicked. The worry that Tomra will leave is so much fainter than it was a year ago, but it will never fully fade, and it tugs at him when he runs out of time or falls asleep too early. Missing Tomra hurts, but their lives are changing, and Izuku is just thankful that they have today and every other Sunday. No worries, player 2. I've been pretty busy too. You're not the only one changing things up these days. Tomra responds, voice crackling, and suddenly the loneliness hits. They haven't spoken in a week. Izuku hasn't spoken to someone sort of near his own age who didn't hate him in a whole week. It's almost surreal for how much it hurts. Even talking to All Might so often these days doesn't really help. Tell me about this Setrun game, Izuku says, staring at his ceiling. His headphones barely hanging on with how they stretch across the room. Hearing Tomra speak might help. So it doesn't look particularly original on most fronts, but the graphics are groundbreaking, and so are the movements and leveling mechanics. And he's off, describing where the game looks, though it may be stale or boring and what's been done right. The familiar rasp of Tomra's voice, growing a little more ragged the longer Tomra talks, though he doesn't seem to notice, sweeps away the mounting loneliness and fear. The second Monday of February, Izuku can barely focus when he wakes. There's just too much on his mind. Tomra had missed one of their Sunday calls for the first time, after a month of the same routine, and hadn't texted Izuku at all since the Sunday before. Bonus, he had to finish moving the last few pieces of trash to the beach and pass the entrance exam without a quirk later in the day. Best Monday ever. In an effort to distract himself, Izuku slipped his phone away and jogged to the beach. The sun's still at least 2 hours from rising. Lifting and pushing trash to the sand and up the stairs is a good distraction. It floods Izuku with exertion, pride, and relief, blocking out the worry. Then, he ends up eating a piece of All Might's hair. It's a better distraction than moving trash around, but the disgust of having eaten a piece of hair can't last forever. Izuku messages Tomra when he leaves the beach and All Might behind. Mightdoriya, 702. I hope you're okay, Tomra. It's been a week and I'm worried. Mightdoriya, 703. I didn't do anything, did I? Also, off topic, but I think I got my quirk. He doesn't really expect a reply. No matter how much he hopes, his phone will ping with a notification. None king. Mightdoriya, 712. I'm going to be away from my phone and computer till after the entrance exam. I know you hate heroes, but please wish me luck anyways. Smiley face. Ah! The realization of why Tomra has disappeared for the past week finally hits him. Izuku was kind of appalled it took him this long. He had just been so distracted by the mix of worry over the exam and Tomra and excitement about the slim chance he'll make it into UA.